and welcome back to InFocus. In this episode of InFocus, partnered by MyState Bank, we're speaking to the lender about how brokers will be able to achieve more for their client faster by embracing the new opportunities provided by the consumer data right and lenders that harness it. Earlier this month, the CDR was expanded to allow brokers access to consumer data when given permission by their client, which was a move welcomed by many. But what exactly does that mean for mortgage brokers? To help us unpack how CDR can make the mortgage broker and lending experience much more efficient, we're talking to MyState Bank's Head of Home Lending Distribution, Blake Albones. Thank you so much for partnering with us for this episode of InFocus. Blake, how are you going?
Wonderful, Annie. How are you?
I am very well, thank you very much.
That's great. It's great to be here, albeit in virtual, but I do want to take the opportunity to thank you and the advisor for this opportunity. So looking forward to it.
Well, I'm very much looking forward to picking your brain about the consumer data right and how this can impact and improve the lending experience, because as we have just mentioned, there's been a new raft of changes brought in which actually now enable consumers to share their data with trusted advisors such as mortgage brokers. But while everyone might have heard about the consumer data right and the promise that it can speed up the mortgage decisioning process, how does this actually work in practice?
Wonderful and great question. So firstly, open banking is about the customer, and we need to remember that. It's about giving access to the customers to get control of their data. But the second part is about giving consent to financial institutions to share that data, which enables, I guess, a better customer experience, the ability to provide insights using artificial intelligence and really help them achieve their financial goals. Earlier this month, as you said, it was extended, I guess, to mortgage brokers, which is fantastic. The two tricks with that extension, I guess, is that the consent is around purposeful, so it has to be for the purpose of what that consent was given to, and also there is a timing on it as well. So whilst it's a huge step, there are some limitations on it as well. If you have a look at open banking, it's a great step forward, but when you start to use it in conjunction with other advances around the comprehensive credit reporting, it's really twofold to how it actually works in favour of not only the broker, but also the end customer, which is the main goal.
Well, I think this is probably one of the things that I imagine brokers will most want to use, because we've had so much conversation the last year around interrogation of expenses. You know, if you think back to 2020 when we were having these conversations, it feels like a world away now, but there was a lot of conversation at the start of the year around, okay, well, what are we doing around responsible lending and ensuring that people are putting everything in their expenses and making sure that they're really, providing all the information up front and that brokers are providing that to the lenders. And there was obviously a lot of work going on around that. And really, I suppose what this will help potentially, from the sounds of it, is providing all of that data straight up front. So if the client does give that permission to provide it, then in theory, it sounds like a lender should be able to have a lot of that information at their fingertips and not require all of the millions of paperwork and different categorization of expenses.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I dial back to a previous life when I was working in a mortgage broker's office, I can tell you what the pain points are, and that is collection of information, sending it through to the lender. The lender wants more. It goes back and forth. So, as I said, tapping into open banking and also the CCR side of things can really alleviate some of that pain when applying for finance. Living expenses is not only, is also a major hurdle when it goes to, capturing those living expenses, justifying it, verifying it, giving it to the lender, and then the lender also has some sort of view and opinion on that as well, and that's a massive pain point. So getting that information up front, as you said, relying on the data. We're currently at a 2-day turnaround and have been for 12 months. Theoretically, we could be moving to unconditional approval in 2 days, which is a fantastic result for not only the end consumer, for our broker partners as well in terms of representing their brand.
Well, you mentioned turnaround times there, and I think that's been the big talking point this year. Of course, there's been a major problem for a lot of brokers, and we know from Momentum Intelligence's Broker Pulse survey, as well as from MyState's own recent broker survey, that turnarounds continue to be a major concern for brokers and a major influencing factor on which lenders they're recommending to their clients. Can you tell us a bit about what you found around the MyState Bank broker survey of the importance of turnaround times to brokers?
Yeah, absolutely. The results are just in, actually, and it's no surprise, to be honest, Annie. There has been so much noise about it over the last 12 months. predominantly at the major lenders in terms of the length of time, but also the channel just discrepancy as well. 89% of the respondents in our survey still rated it very, very important that turnaround times are important, but they rated MyState very good or good. Applications are up 250% for the same quarter last year. So to exponentially grow but keep your service levels at that 2-day has been certainly part of our success. How do we actually now pick that up and grow it on the eastern seaboard is a challenge that's been put in front of me, and we're looking forward to it, to be honest.
Well, you make a good point there about expanding out the presence, because since you've joined MyState, you've been tasked with that very job of making it no longer just a sort of Victorian, Tasmanian lender, but really a truly nationwide lender, which is why I suppose the broker channel really comes into play here.
Absolutely. We're probably number 1 or number 2 in Tasmania on any given day, and we know what we do down in Tasmania, which is our heartland, is fantastic. Our MPS results prove that. We're plus 47 as a bank. We're plus 80 as a broker customer. So, it's in the best interest of the customers to partner with MyState if you go off those results. And as I said, how do you pick that up and bring it to the mainland? And the growth we're going to get off from the mainland is going to be 100% through the broker channel. So we really need to build on that true partnership and be the digital bank, but with that human touch when it comes to looking after our customers as well as the brokers' customers. So absolutely, it's a challenge that's been put in front of me, and we're looking forward to it. The other piece to it, Annie, just to elaborate, is how do we pick up such a trusted brand in Tasmania and bring it to the mainland? And you'd no doubt see a lot of us in the broker media at the moment, but there's certainly some consumer branding challenges there that we're currently on TV here in Victoria. So we'll continue to grow the brand to make it easy for brokers to refer their customers or align their customers with MyState.
So really increasing that brand recognition with consumers as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that the challenge we've got, between products and policies, call them similar. Our products are equal to or better than any product out there on the market. So it's really about that brand awareness and giving the broker the assurance that by, giving us the opportunity to look after their customer, that MyState is going to do that. And we've been able to evidence it through MPS results and our exponential growth early days.
Well, you mentioned about obviously keeping consistent turnarounds and that the lender had been able to do it for so long. And I just wonder, looking at other sort of lenders, we mentioned there about some of the majors experiencing some issues. What sort of is the traditional application process, and where do the actual typical pain points come? Because I'm wondering, if you're able to do it, how come everyone isn't able to do it?
I think it is, I can only worry about my own backyard, Annie, but I think it is really about, the embracing of the digital world and what is out there. And if you look at a typical MyState application, you've got DocuSign, you've got IDU, so it's a very seamless process. You've got AVMs for the valuation side of things, throw in open banking, which allows us to really assess, with the consent of the customer, assess their spending habits. You've got comprehensive credit reporting, so we know their credit worthiness. There is absolutely no reason why that all that information that's provided to us up front, we can make a sound credit decision straight away. Then we go into formal. You've got digital documents that are going out to customers via MSA. They can DocuSign it. It can come back to MyState. We can do fast refi. So it can actually really speed up the process, and we're nimble enough as a business to embrace technology. We haven't got arcade systems. We can build them in, and we can give that customer and broker experience a bit of a wow factor, which is fantastic.
Well, you mentioned there about some of the tools that you're using as a bank to make the process a bit more digital and a bit more efficient, and obviously for a lot of people enable them to write it remotely as well. You mentioned fast refi there. For anyone who's not across what fast refi is, what is it, and what does it enable you to do?
Well, fast refi, if you have a look at any financial institution at the moment, the only teams growing within those banks and organisations are retention teams. It's a hot refinance market at the moment, no doubt. You've got cashbacks out there. What fast refi does is actually take out the other lender that you're taking the business from. So there's a long list of lenders that participate in it. We physically go and pay the loan out and collect the title later through MSA and First Title. So once again, you can turn that over in a couple of days rather than trying to organise a refinance, and you've got retention teams that might muck up the deal. And we all know you don't get paid unless it settles, and we work very hard for our broker to make sure we all succeed.
So I guess, again, really in reducing the turnaround times of the discharges by just really handling that process yourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And, when we spoke about service levels blowing out, there's also the discharge service level that was blowing out, and some of them hit 30, 31 days. So when you've got an end consumer that is refinancing for a purpose, and whether it's cash out to buy another property, a car, a holiday, waiting 31 days once you've signed the documents is just poor, absolutely poor. So the fast refi option just speeds that up and enables the customer to move on and achieve their goals.
Well, looking at this time of year, typically is the spring selling time is always a busy one for brokers. But with New South Wales and Victoria coming out of lockdown, fingers crossed, imminently, then it looks like it's going to be a bumper year for brokers, with no break between the spring selling season and then the summer rush. How is MyState working to help support brokers at this time?
Yeah, well, fingers crossed we do come out of lockdown, Annie. It's been a long time, certainly for the Victorians, but I actually agree with your sentiment of what's going to happen. There is clearly a lack of stock in the market in New South Wales and Victoria at the moment, and I spoke to that with being a really hot refinance market. So what are we doing? Look, we're partnering with our brokers to make sure that they're aware of what we can offer. We're running refinance campaigns at the moment to tap into the market and making sure people can release their equity on time, pending new purchases. We've got some great investment rates out there. We've still got cash back. So the product and proposition has never been stronger. It's just making sure that we really start to grow the number of brokers that are using us at the moment, letting them tap into all the good stuff that MyState has.
That's actually a good point. So if any broker hasn't yet used MyState, how do they get in touch with the support team or the staff? Can they do it online? Is it all via phone? What's the best sort of points of contact?
Yeah, if they go to a broker portal, they can have a look at all of our business relationship managers in each state, and they can certainly reach out. We're going to be doing a lot of webinar events over the next 2 weeks. We've actually called October Digital October, to making sure that we can connect with as many brokers as possible to get the news out there. I think we've done a fantastic job with our brand awareness over the last couple of weeks through the industry and through consumers' channels. It's more about now making sure we're connecting with brokers and having them prepared to partner with us.
So looking forward to the rest of 2021 and into 2022, what else can we expect to see from MyState Bank?
Well, the market's ever changing, Annie, and we've certainly had some changes already earlier around DTIs and buffering rate, or the buffer to serviceability rate. So regulation will always take priority, but we've got to start or continue to move forward with our digital roadmap. We've got mandating of documents through Apply Online to make sure that that first touch goes through. Once again, comes back to a greater broker and customer experience. We've got auto credit decisioning. We've got an ambition that 40% of our deals in the second half of this financial year will be auto approved, which once again speeds up that process for brokers to get for customers to get their approval as well. Wouldn't it be fantastic that once documents or formal approval goes through, documents are issued, that there is no human intervention all the way through to funding? I think that's a great opportunity that we need to explore. But the big one for me is, I don't think any bank's really mastered it, and we're notorious about not sharing data, and I want to flip that on its head. I think we really need to partner with our brokers, and we look at our own book and our own portfolio. We draw insights around, with our machine learning and AI, how do we actually pick up those insights and actually share it with brokers to help them manage their own portfolio and help them manage their MyState clients, to make sure that their clients get the best of what MyState can offer. So certainly there's plenty on the roadmap. It's just making sure we prioritise it and keep the customer and broker at the forefront of all decisions.
Well, we started talking about the consumer data, right? And I like that we've ended talking about providing data to brokers as well about their clients as well. So it kind of works both ways. But it seems like Data is the way forward, and it's the one thing that's really going to improve and speed up the mortgage processing side of things. Alongside technology, having data and sharing data is the word of the day. Thank you very much for sharing your insights and tip with us today, Blake, for this episode of InFocus. If brokers have any questions for me or for Blake, then do feel free to reach out and ask them. You can email me at editor@theadvisor.com.au, and do check out MyState's website and broker portal for more information on its products and broker services. Thank you so much, Blake, for joining us. Take care, and for everyone watching, I hope you will stay safe and stay well. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.